This map was drawn in 1513, and it shows Antarctica. Antarctica was not discovered until 1820, 307 years after this map was drawn. But that is not the impossible part. The impossible part is what the map shows when you look more closely. It does not show Antarctica as it appears today, buried beneath a kilometers-thick ice sheet. It shows Antarctica as it would appear without the ice, the actual rock coastline, the subglacial topography, the mountains and bays and inlets that lie beneath the ice that has covered the continent for approximately 12,000 years. That subglacial coastline was not mapped by modern science until 1958, during the International Geophysical Year, using seismic survey technology that did not exist until the middle of the 20th century. And in 1960, Captain Lorenzo Burrows of the United States Air Force, 8th Reconnaissance Technical Squadron, wrote a formal letter to a researcher studying the map. In it, he confirmed officially, on behalf of the United States Air Force, that the map showed the subglacial topography of Antarctica with what he described as remarkable accuracy. The United States Air Force, formally confirming, in writing, that a map drawn in 1513 shows geographical information that should not have existed until 1958. That letter has never been retracted. The map has never been explained, and the man who drew it left notes, written directly on the parchment in his own hand, explaining exactly where his information came from. He said he copied it from older maps, ancient maps, maps so old he described some of them as dating to the time of Alexander the Great, which means the impossible information on this map did not originate in 1513. It came from somewhere much older, from someone who sailed the waters of Antarctica when its coastline was free of ice, 12,000 years ago. And tonight, for the first time, we are going to look at all of the evidence. Not just the Antarctic coastline, all of it, every impossible detail, every suppressed finding, every academic institution that looked at this map and chose silence over the explanation that the evidence actually points to. Because by the end of this video, you will understand something that changes how you see every ancient mystery we have covered on this channel. The Piri Reis map is not just an anomaly, it is proof. To understand why the Piri Reis map is so significant, we need to understand who made it, how it was found, and most critically, what the man who drew it wrote about where his information came from. Piri Reis was not a forger, he was not a fantasist, he was not a medieval monk copying mythological sea charts in a monastery scriptorium. He was one of the most celebrated naval officers in the history of the Ottoman Empire. His full name was Haji Ahmed Muhyiddin Piri, born approximately 1465 in the city of Gallipoli, the great Ottoman naval stronghold on the Dardanelles Strait. He served in the Ottoman Navy for decades, learning his craft under his uncle Kamal Reis, himself a legendary admiral who had fought against the Venetians and Portuguese across the Mediterranean and Atlantic. Piri Reis rose to the rank of admiral. He commanded Ottoman fleets in the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, and the Indian Ocean. He wrote 2 major navigational guides, the Kitab-i-Bahriya, meaning the Book of the Sea, comprehensive works that described harbors, currents, coastal landmarks, and sailing routes across the known world. These books were not theoretical exercises. They were practical tools used by real sailors on real ships. They are still consulted by historians of navigation today. This was a man who understood maps, who understood the sea, who understood the difference between accurate geographical information and guesswork. And in 1513, using this map that would eventually bear his name, he demonstrated both. The map was drawn on gazelle skin parchment. It was painted in the style of the era, colored inks, decorative illustrations of ships and sea creatures in the open ocean, compass roses marking the cardinal directions. It showed the Atlantic Ocean, the coastlines of Europe and Africa, the recently discovered Americas, and at the bottom, the impossible southern landmass. The map disappeared. It was filed away, misplaced, forgotten. For 400 years, it sat somewhere in the vast archives of the Ottoman Imperial Palace, the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, while empires rose and fell and the world outside changed beyond recognition. Then in 1929, a group of workers were converting the Topkapi Palace into a museum when they discovered it in a storage room. A German theologian named Gustav Adolf Deissmann identified it as significant and began the process of bringing it to scholarly attention. Within years, it was being studied by cartographers and historians around the world. And almost immediately, the questions began. Because Piri Reis had written notes on the map, extensive notes in Ottoman Turkish, scattered across the parchment, explaining his methodology, his sources, and his conclusions. And those notes contain a statement that has never been satisfactorily explained. He wrote that the map was compiled from approximately 20 source maps. Some of these source maps, he noted, had been drawn in the time of Alexander the Great, the 4th century BC. Others were even older than that. He specifically mentioned that he had accessed maps that had been used by Christopher Columbus during his 1492 voyage to the Americas. Maps that Columbus had apparently obtained from somewhere and used as navigational guides before his official voyage of discovery. Read that again. Columbus used maps showing the Americas before he officially discovered them. Maps that came from somewhere. Maps that Piri Reis also accessed. Maps that were old enough in 1513 to be described as ancient. Where did Columbus get those maps? Where did the maps those maps were copied from come from? And how did any of those maps, wherever their ultimate origin, contain accurate information about a continent that no European is supposed to have seen until 1820? The map itself is not in dispute. It sits in the Topkapi Palace Museum in Istanbul. It has been examined, photographed, measured, and analyzed by historians and cartographers for nearly a century. Its age is confirmed. Its authenticity has never been seriously questioned. What has never been explained is what it shows. If ancient evidence like this keeps you up at night, hit subscribe right now. Every week we go deeper into the mysteries mainstream history refuses to explain. Now let's look at exactly what this map shows because the details are extraordinary. Let us go through the impossible details one by one, because each one individually could theoretically be explained away. Together they cannot. Impossible detail number 1. Antarctica without its ice. The southern landmass on the Piri Reis map has been compared in meticulous detail to modern survey maps of Antarctica, specifically to the maps produced during the International Geophysical Year of 1958 that first used seismic technology to reveal the actual rock surface beneath the ice sheet. The correspondence is specific, measurable, and documented. The Queen Maud Land coastline, the section of Antarctic coastline facing the Atlantic Ocean, is shown on the Piri Reis map with bays, inlets, promontories, and mountain ranges that correspond to the actual subglacial coastline with an accuracy that eliminates guesswork as an explanation. Antarctica has been covered by its current ice sheet for approximately 12,000 years. Before that, during the period scientists call the Antarctic Warm Period, the continent had an ice-free coastline accessible from the Southern Ocean. The last time the relevant sections of the Antarctic coast were navigable was approximately 12,000 years ago. To have accurately mapped that coastline, someone would have needed to sail those waters and conduct detailed surveys before 12,000 years BC. 12,000 years ago, before Egypt, before Sumer, before any civilization we currently acknowledge existed, before writing, before cities, before agriculture, before everything we call ancient history had even begun. And in 1960, Captain Lorenzo Burrows of the United States Air Force, 8th Reconnaissance Technical Squadron, made this confirmation formal. In a letter to Dr. Charles Hapgood, who we will discuss shortly, Captain Burrows wrote that his unit had compared the Piri Reis map to their own aerial survey maps of Antarctica and found that the map showed the subglacial topography of the Antarctic continent with, and I am paraphrasing his precise language here, remarkable accuracy. The United States Air Force, one of the most technically sophisticated military organizations on Earth, looking at a 500-year-old map and confirming that it showed geographical features that their own technology had only recently discovered. That confirmation exists. It is documented. It has never been retracted. Impossible detail number 2, the accurate Americas. Columbus reached the Caribbean in 1492, 21 years before Piri Reis drew his map. In those 21 years, European knowledge of the American continents was fragmentary, confused, and wildly inaccurate. Most educated Europeans still believed the Americas were part of Asia. The true shape, extent, and geography of the continents was completely unknown, And yet the Piri Reis map shows the Americas, both north and south, with a relative positioning, a general outline, and a level of coastal detail that took European cartographers until the late 16th century to achieve through actual exploration. The eastern coastline of South America is shown with accuracy that explorers of the time simply did not have. The relative distance across the Atlantic from Europe to the Americas is correctly represented, something that early European maps of the Americas consistently got wrong. And the Amazon River, the largest river system on Earth, not officially explored by European navigators until Francisco de Orellana's expedition of 1541, appears on the Piri Reis map, correctly positioned, flowing in the correct direction, 28 years before any European claimed to have found it. How did Piri Reis know where the Amazon was in 1513? The only answer he offers is the one written in his own hand on the map itself. He copied it from a source map that already showed the Amazon, a source map that predated European exploration of South America. Where did that source map come from? Impossible detail number 3, the mathematical projection. This is perhaps the most technically significant evidence for an advanced ancient source, and the one that is hardest to attribute to coincidence or inspired guesswork. Professor Charles Hapgood, a professor of the history of science at Keene State College in New Hampshire, spent years in the late 1950s and early 1960s conducting a systematic mathematical analysis of the Piri Reis map with a team of his students. They were attempting to identify the cartographic projection used, the mathematical method by which a spherical planetary surface is translated onto a flat piece of parchment. This is not a trivial technical task. Cartographic projection requires sophisticated mathematical knowledge, an understanding of spherical geometry, the ability to calculate angular relationships across large distances, and a precise knowledge of the Earth's actual dimensions. What Hapgood's team found was extraordinary. The map had been drawn using a sophisticated spherical trigonometry projection, not a simple flat projection or a rough approximation. A mathematically rigorous method for representing large sections of a spherical surface on a flat medium, a method requiring mathematical knowledge and computational ability that was not supposed to exist in the ancient world. And when they worked backwards through the mathematics to determine the center point of the projection, the geographical location from which the original cartographers had conducted their survey, they found it was centered on a point in Egypt, specifically in the region of what is now Cairo or ancient Memphis, the heart of ancient Egypt. This suggested that the original source maps, the maps that Piri Reis copied, that Columbus copied, that generations of medieval cartographers had been copying from for centuries, were originally produced by someone working from a base in ancient Egypt. Someone who knew the Earth was a sphere, someone who could calculate its dimensions with precision, someone who possessed mathematical and navigational knowledge that, according to our current understanding of history, simply did not exist in the ancient world. Impossible detail number 4, the other impossible maps. The Piri Reis map does not stand alone. And this is crucial because a single anomalous map can be dismissed as a hoax, a misidentification, or an extraordinary coincidence. Multiple anomalous maps cannot. The Orontius Phineas map of 1531, drawn 18 years after the Piri Reis map, shows Antarctica with a level of detail that goes beyond the Piri Reis version. Mountain ranges, river systems flowing from those mountains to the coast, bays and inlets, features that were confirmed by modern geological surveys of the Antarctic subglacial landscape, but were not known to science in 1531. The Boissé map of 1737, drawn by French cartographer Philippe Boissé, shows Antarctica divided into 2 separate landmasses by an internal sea or waterway cutting across the continent. This feature was completely unknown in 1737. It remained unknown until the International Geophysical Year of 1958, when seismic surveys revealed that Antarctica is indeed divided by a subglacial waterway, exactly as Boissé's map depicted it. The feature is now called the Trans-Antarctic Trough. How did a French cartographer in 1737 accurately depict an internal feature of Antarctica that science did not discover until 1958? He used a source map, an older source map, the same older source maps that Piri Reis used, the same older source maps that Orontius Phineas used, all of them copying from the same unknown original. An original that showed the world as it appeared before the ice-covered Antarctica, before the ocean swallowed the coastal civilizations, before the catastrophe that ended the world that came before ours. An original that should not exist, but does. The most serious academic attempt to explain what the Piri Reis map and the other anomalous maps actually represent came from Charles Hapgood. Hapgood was not a maverick outsider. He was a tenured professor at an accredited American university. He published his findings through established academic channels. He subjected his mathematical analysis to peer review. He corresponded extensively with professional cartographers, military analysts, and scientists who examined and in several cases confirmed his technical methodology. His central conclusion, published in 1966 in a book called Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings, was this: the Piri Reis map and the other anomalous ancient maps were not products of inspired guesswork, lucky coincidence, or medieval imagination. They were copies, copies of copies of copies, tracing back through generations of cartographers, Islamic scholars, Byzantine archivists, Alexandrian librarians, to an original set of source maps created by an unknown advanced civilization that had conducted a comprehensive cartographic survey of the entire Earth at some point before the last ice age. This civilization, whoever they were, had possessed navigational technology, mathematical knowledge, and geographical understanding far exceeding anything we attribute to any known ancient people. They had sailed every ocean, they had mapped every continent, they had recorded the Earth's surface in accurate detail, including the coastline of Antarctica, while it was still free of ice, and had preserved that knowledge in maps. Those maps had survived imperfectly, incompletely, copied and recopied with inevitable errors accumulating through each generation, eventually reaching medieval and Renaissance cartographers like Piri Reis, who copied them, not knowing what he was copying, not understanding the source, just faithfully reproducing ancient information that made its way into his compilation. Hapgood's work was reviewed by some of the most distinguished scientific minds of his era. Albert Einstein, in a letter written in 1953 to Hapgood about his earlier related work on Earth crust displacement, praised the quality of Hapgood's research methodology and called his questions genuinely important ones, deserving serious scientific attention. Albert Einstein, the most celebrated scientist of the 20th century, reviewing the work of a researcher who was essentially arguing that a sophisticated global civilization had existed in the prehistoric era and finding it worthy of serious engagement. The mainstream academic establishment did not follow Einstein's lead. Hapgood's Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings was reviewed in some quarters, noted in others, and largely set aside in the rest. Not because his technical findings were refuted, they were not. Not because his mathematical analysis was shown to be flawed. It was not. It was set aside because what it implied was simply too large. If Hapgood was right, if these maps trace back to a civilization that existed before 12,000 years ago, then the entire narrative of human development is wrong. Not slightly wrong, not in need of revision, fundamentally, structurally, completely wrong. There was no gradual development from primitive hunter-gatherers to complex civilization over thousands of years. There was an advanced civilization, possibly global in reach, that existed before the catastrophe. It was destroyed or severely damaged. And what we call the beginning of human history, Egypt, Sumer, the Indus Valley, the pyramids, is actually the recovery period. The long, slow rebuilding after the catastrophe wiped out almost everything. The maps are the evidence, copied and recopied across 12,000 years, carrying impossible information forward through time because the people copying them did not understand what they were copying. They just knew it was old and valuable and worth preserving. Until in 1513, an Ottoman admiral assembled 20 of them into a single compilation and drew a map that shows Antarctica, 307 years before Antarctica was discovered. If this series is changing how you think about human history, subscribe and hit the notification bell. What we cover in the next section connects every video we have made so far. Don't miss it. We have now covered 5 videos on this channel, 5 separate ancient mysteries, 5 independent lines of evidence pointing in the same direction. Göbekli Tepe, built 12,000 years ago by people who should not have been capable of building it, using organizational, engineering, and artistic skills that the current model of human development says did not exist at that time. The Indus Valley Civilization, 5 million people with standardized measurements, sophisticated urban planning, and a writing system we cannot read, appearing suddenly and disappearing completely, leaving no explanation. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the most precisely built structure on Earth, encoding mathematical constants that should not have been known for thousands of years, containing a hidden chamber that has never been entered. Atlantis, described by Plato with specific geographical and architectural precision, placed at a location where scientific evidence now suggests something significant existed and was destroyed by catastrophic flooding. Dwarka, an entire ancient city on the ocean floor of the Gulf of Combat, carbon dated to 9,500 years ago, confirmed by government announcement and then abandoned by mainstream archaeology. And now the Piri Reis map, a physical artifact, sitting in a museum in Istanbul. That can be examined, measured, and analyzed, showing geographical information that should not have existed for centuries or in some cases, millennia after it was drawn. Confirmed as accurate by military cartographers using modern technology. Each of these discoveries stands independently. Each one is difficult to explain within our current model of human history. Each one has been examined, questioned, and ultimately set aside by mainstream archaeology and history, not because it was refuted, but because accepting it requires accepting something the current model cannot accommodate. But look at them together. They are not independent mysteries. They are different pieces of the same puzzle. Göbekli Tepe was built by a civilization that already possessed advanced organizational and engineering knowledge 12,000 years ago. That same civilization, or the survivors of its destruction, may have carried knowledge of mathematics and astronomy to the Indus Valley, to Egypt, to every corner of the ancient world. They encoded their mathematical knowledge into monuments, the pyramids designed to survive anything, because they knew from direct experience that civilizations can be destroyed overnight. Their coastal cities, Dwarka, and others like it around the world, were swallowed by the rising seas when the Ice Age ended, and the oceans rose by 120 meters. Their maritime knowledge, their maps of the world as it appeared before the ice-covered Antarctica, was preserved in archives, copied and recopied through the great libraries of the ancient world, surviving the destruction of Alexandria, of Constantinople, of every great repository of ancient knowledge that was burned or looted, or simply lost to time. Until fragments of it reached Piri Reis in 1513, and he drew a map. The Piri Reis map is not just an anomaly in the history of cartography, it is a message from a civilization that knew it was going to be destroyed or that had already survived one destruction, to whoever came after. They could not preserve their cities. The oceans took them. They could not preserve their monuments intact. Time and conquest damaged most of them, but they could preserve knowledge in maps, in manuscripts, in the carefully maintained archives of successive civilizations that understood they were custodians of something important, even if they did not fully understand what it was. The Piri Reis map survived. Others did not. And what was lost when the Library of Alexandria burned? What maps, what texts, what records of the world before, we will never fully know. The Piri Reis map has been sitting in the Topkapi Palace Museum in Istanbul since its rediscovery in 1929. It is real, it is authenticated, it is not disputed. What is disputed, or more precisely, what is avoided, is what it means. Because what it means is this: someone sailed the waters of Antarctica 12,000 years ago. Someone mapped those waters accurately enough that when modern seismic technology finally revealed the subglacial coastline in 1958, the United States Air Force looked at a 500-year-old map and confirmed the match. Someone possessed mathematical knowledge sophisticated enough to conduct a spherical, cartographic survey of the entire Earth, centered on ancient Egypt. At a time when no known civilization is supposed to have possessed that knowledge, someone compiled maps of the Americas, including the Amazon River, before any European is supposed to have seen either. And that someone was not Piri Reis. He said so himself. He was copying. He was assembling. He was compiling from sources older than himself, older than his civilization, older than the history we teach. The map is the fingerprint of a civilization that mapped the world before the catastrophe, that preserved its knowledge through successive generations of careful copying, that reached forward through 12,000 years of human history and left evidence, physical, measurable, documented evidence that it existed. We have now spent 6 videos on this channel following that fingerprint, from a hilltop in Turkey to the ocean floor of India, from the mathematical constants of the pyramids to the concentric rings of Atlantis, from the undeciphered script of the Indus Valley to the impossible coastlines of an Ottoman admiral's map. And every trail leads to the same place. There was a world before our world. There was a civilization before our civilization. It was destroyed, not by myth, not by metaphor, by real geological, astronomical, and climate events that changed the Earth in ways the geological record preserves to this day. And what we call ancient history, Egypt, Sumer, the Indus Valley, the pyramids, the great founding myths of every culture on Earth, is the story of what came after. The rebuilding, the remembering, the long, slow recovery of knowledge that was nearly lost forever. In the next video, we look at what may be the most direct evidence yet for what that original civilization actually knew. Texts so old they predate every known literary tradition, written in a language so ancient it took a century to partially decode, describing events, a creation, a flood, gods who came from the sky and gave humanity civilization that matched the pattern we have been following across every video on this channel. The Sumerian tablets, and what they say about where human civilization actually came from. Subscribe so you are there, and tell me in the comments, after everything we have covered across 6 videos, do you believe there was a civilization before ours? And if so, what do you think destroyed it? The most thoughtful answer gets pinned. I will see you in the next video.